Well, Donald Trump faces a critical legal blow from Judge Aileen Cannon in the classified documents case going on in Florida. Al Sharpton and Representative Byron Donalds clash in a heated debate over this Jim Crow era comment, and it sparked a massive firestorm on national television, guys. So, yeah, it's getting live. It's getting real. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, please do your boy a favor. Hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are able to see and hear me okay. We had some issues earlier, and we also had a video get suppressed and ultimately suspended. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time. So Donald Trump, he is facing a serious legal challenge, guys. He's accused of illegally keeping classified documents from his presidency and conspiring with others to hide these sensitive files from the federal government. Now, the indictment includes 41 counts against Donald Trump. And in her order on Monday, actually just a few hours ago, Judge Aileen Cannon, she explained her decision, and she ultimately said that the identified deficiencies in the charges, even if they cause some confusion, they're still allowed by law. And she also mentioned that the issues raised are about evidence which should not be resolved at this stage of the case. Now, there were some jury instructions. She noted that as long as the jury is properly instructed and provided with adequate verdict forms, the charges do not need to be dismissed, even if they're technically deficient. So essentially, Cannon's specific words were, quote, the identified deficiencies, even if generating some arguable confusion, they're either permitted by law or they raise evidentiary challenges not appropriate for disposition at this juncture and or do not require any kind of dismissal, even if technical or technically deficient, so long as the jury is instructed appropriately and presented with adequate verdict forms to each defendant's alleged conduct, end quote. So essentially, the partial agreement with the defense is like this. While Judge Aileen Cannon, she denied the motion to dismiss the counts, she did agree with the defense on one point and one point only. She basically struck down a paragraph from the indictment that the defense argued contained some prejudicial information in it. This particular paragraph, according to Donald Trump's defense, was not essential to the underlying charges. Now, Judge Cannon, she's got a history of rejecting multiple other motions to dismiss this case. Now, one such motion argued that Presidential Records Act following Donald Trump, or actually allowed Donald Trump to keep the documents. And so technically that actually helped Donald Trump's case. And so the Presidential Records Act allows Donald Trump to keep these documents, and it designates them as his personal files after leaving the White House. Judge Cannon, she rejected this argument as well. Now, some folks say, well, Donald Trump appointed Judge Cannon. She's showing favoritism, yada, yada, yada. I hear that argument, and it makes sense. But at the same time, you have Judge Aileen Cannon shooting down multiple requests from Donald Trump's defense team. So I don't know where people are getting this favoritism from. I don't see it. Now, the motion to dismiss the half dozen counts is just one of many pretrial requests and disputes that have accumulated in front of Judge Cannon. Now, these disputes, they have allowed the progress of Donald Trump's case and have ultimately delayed the trial. So in a nutshell, Judge Aileen Cannon, she has once again denied a motion from Donald Trump's legal team to dismiss charges in the classified documents case. This decision ultimately highlights the ongoing battle and whatnot. So I just don't see any favoritism taking place here, unless you guys see something that I don't see. What's going on, Keenan Ripon, Guadalupe Rubino, Fed Up Patriot? What's up? We got Nana's Crochet Corner in the house. What's up, folks? Awesome. Okay, let's talk about this situation with Al Sharpton and Representative Byron Donalds. Did you guys hear about this? Like, what have you guys heard? Because there was basically this huge shouting match that took place. So Reverend Al Sharpton, and I know how I think that there's probably varying degrees of opinions of Al Sharpton. Some people love him, some people hate him. Anyway, Reverend Al Sharpton and Representative Byron Donalds had a heated argument just this past Saturday during an episode of PoliticsNation on MSNBC. So basically, the dispute began with Al Sharpton suggesting that Byron Donalds, who is a Florida Republican, had put a positive spin on the Jim Crow era. So Byron Donalds, who is reportedly a presidential running mate for former President Donald Trump in the 2024 election, he had made some comments the previous week about the quality of life for Black families during the Jim Crow era. At a GOP event in Philadelphia, Byron Donalds stated, quote, "During Jim Crow, the Black family was together. During Jim Crow, more Black people were not just conservative. Black people have always been conservative minded, but more Black people voted conservatively," end quote. Now, during the show, Byron Daniels, and I don't know how many of you guys agree or disagree with what Byron Daniels is saying about Black people being more of a conservative voter back then, but it is what it is, right? But during the show, Byron Daniels, or I keep calling him Byron Daniels. Anyway, during the show, Byron Donalds, he accused Democrats of lying and mischaracterizing his comments. So he denied suggesting that Jim Crow era was better for Black Americans. And he even went so far as to say that he was merely pointing out that Black marriage rates were higher at that time. Now, Al Sharpton, on the other hand, he argued that Donalds had implied that families, particularly Black families, were better off during the 1950s and the 1960s, to which Byron Donalds responded, "I never said that," to which Al Sharpton urged him to apologize, suggesting that he might have unintentionally sanitized an era where Black Americans could not vote. Now, the two men began speaking over one another as Al Sharpton questioned why Byron Donalds had referred to the era as Jim Crow rather than just simply calling it the 1950s. Now, Al Sharpton, he also pointed out that Byron Donalds had moved from New York to Florida for political reasons and he's in an interracial marriage right now. Now, he asked how Byron Donalds could live with himself for acting like Jim Crow was a good era or better era for Blacks. Donalds, or Byron Donalds, he retorted basically saying, okay, it's real cute. That's real cute. You know, I did not say that. I am not going to sit here and have you insinuate that against me because right now you're lying about what I said, end quote. Now, Donalds, he continued by asking Al Sharpton when he was, he continued by asking Al Sharpton when he was, quote, going to get it through his thick skull that he did not suggest Jim Crow was a good or better time. Al Sharpton responded very sharply saying, quote, "Maybe it's because our skull has ears and we heard what you said," end quote. Now, what do you guys think about this? I know it's a little bit of back and forth, but definitely got heated real quick. The argument between Al Sharpton and Byron Donalds continued with both people talking over each other before ultimately getting to a different topic. But what we do know is that Byron Donalds had previously defended his comments on social media, arguing that Democrats were misrepresenting his words. He stated, quote, "What I said was you had more Black families under Jim Crow, and it was the Democrat policies under the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, under the welfare state, that did help to destroy the Black family. I also said that you're seeing a reinvigoration of Black families in America today, and that is a good thing," end quote. So what do you guys make of that? Keenan Ripon, he actually caught that. Let's see. X Factor says Al Sharpton's a clown. Robin Spielman, holy cow, how did I miss this? Sounds like he's just trying to divide the people, according to Justin Holt. Let's see. Fed Up Patriot says these people are victims of their minds. Yeah, a lot of lot of drama within these politicians' headquarters or within political specters. Anyway, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken recently visited Israel to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, during this particular meeting, Antony Blinken, he urged Hamas to accept a ceasefire proposal. Now, this particular ceasefire proposals, this is not the first time that this was urged, right? But the proposal's future became uncertain due to a recent Israeli hostage rescue operation, which ultimately led to the deaths of a lot of Palestinians and caused political turmoil within Netanyahu's government. Now, before arriving in Israel, Antony Blinken, he met with Egyptian president in Cairo, and ultimately Egypt plays a very crucial role in mediating with Hamas. So the militant group involved in basically Hamas is the militant group involved in this conflict here. But after his talks with El-Sisi, Antony Blinken, he traveled to Israel to discuss the ceasefire proposal with Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as several other Israeli officials. Blinken, he emphasized the need for Hamas to agree to the ceasefire plan, highlighting his the essentially broad international support. He said, quote, "If you want a ceasefire, press Hamas to say yes," end quote. He also noted that Israel has accepted the proposal, although Benjamin Netanyahu remains a bit skeptical about its prospects. Blinken, he actually criticized Hamas, saying they show extraordinary cynicism and lack of concern for the well-being and security of both Israelis and Palestinians. Now, the situation is very complicated, and it gets even more complicated by this recent Israeli operation that essentially rescued 4 hostages, but resulted in the deaths of 274 Palestinian civilians. So a lot of, anyway, it's not good for either side. It really isn't. This incident, it might make it a little bit more challenging to achieve a ceasefire, as it could strengthen Israel's resolve and ultimately harden Hamas's stance. The conflict began with an attack by Hamas on Israel back on October 7th. So Blinken essentially reiterated that the ceasefire proposal is the best way to end the fighting, release the remaining hostages, and improve regional security. He also discussed plans for post-conflict governance and reconstruction in Gaza during his talks with President El-Sisi. Now, Blinken's trip includes visits to Jordan and Qatar as a part of his efforts to address the ongoing conflict. Now, I got to ask you guys, I know this is wild, what's going on here. Do you think Donald Trump would have been able to handle this situation a lot better than Joe Biden has? The whole Israel-Hamas situation. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Bill Gates, everyone's favorite, the co-founder of Microsoft and chairman of TerraPower, is now making headlines with his very ambitious energy project. So just yesterday, Bill Gates, he visited the very small town of Camara in Wyoming in order to break ground on a next generation nuclear power plant that he believes will ultimately revolutionize power generation. So TerraPower, Bill Gates' company, applied back in March to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for a construction permit of an advanced nuclear reactor. Now, did you guys hear that? Let me reiterate that. TerraPower, Bill Gates' company, applied in March to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for a construction permit for an advanced nuclear reactor. What do you guys think about that? Like, are you seeing what Bill Gates is probably going to be doing with this plant that he's trying to build, this nuclear plant? Yeah. So unlike conventional reactors that use water for cooling, this particular advanced reactor uses sodium. If the permit is approved, it will operate as a commercial nuclear power plant. Now, the construction site for this particular innovative project is next to Pacific Corp's Naughton Power Plant. Now, Pacific Corp, they plan to stop burning coal there by 2026 and natural gas about a decade later. So the utility aims to obtain carbon-free power from TerraPower's reactor. Now, nuclear reactors, they have the advantage of generating power without emitting greenhouse gases, and Pacific Corp is considering how much nuclear energy to incorporate into its long-term plans. This is a big move, guys. This is a very big move. Clean energy. This has got to be putting a smile on Joe Biden's face with his whole green energy initiative. Bill Gates emphasized the significance of this particular project at the groundbreaking event, stating, quote, "You are standing on what will soon be the bedrock of America's energy future. This is a big step towards safe, abundant, zero carbon energy, and it's important for the future of this country that projects like this succeed," end quote. So Chris Levesque, the president and CEO of TerraPower, he explained that the advanced reactors, like the one that they're working on developing, typically use coolants other than water and operate at much lower pressures and higher temperatures. While this technology has existed for like decades, the U.S. has mostly built large conventional water-cooled reactors for commercial use. The Wyoming project, though, this marks the first attempt in about 4 decades to establish an advanced reactor as a commercial power plant in the United States, at least according to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC. Big shout out to Fed Up Patriot. Thanks so much for the $10 super chat this evening. Ron, you are burning the candle on both ends. We appreciate all your work. You have captivated your audience. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the love. Thanks for the support. Appreciate you, man. And I appreciate all of you guys. I really do. I really do. Appreciate you guys tuning in and hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. But yeah, so Levesque highlighted the need for innovation in the nuclear industry. He mentioned that the industry has traditionally focused on repeating past successes for reliability. However, he argued that with the increasing electricity demands, think crypto, think AI, artificial intelligence, all these things, Tesla vehicles, electric EVs, all needing charging. This electricity demand is increasing, and the need to address cost issues in today's nuclear energy. He indicates that it's time to move forward with new technology. So TerraPower's Natrium reactor demonstration project, it features a sodium-cooled fast reactor design combined with a molten salt energy storage system. Oh yeah, super advanced technology here, guys. Yeah, so in contrast to the traditional approach, TerraPower's advanced reactor, it's aiming to be a little bit simpler, safer, more efficient, and cheaper. Some folks are scared of nuclear reactors, though. Some people feel like, this is a dangerous source of energy. Not sure what you guys feel about nuclear energy versus, just the traditional petroleum or, wind or solar. I'm not really sure what your preference is for energy, but here we have a brand new Bill Gates project underway. In fact, the company's project is expected to cost up to $4 billion, with half of the funding coming from the U.S. Department of Energy. So regardless of how rich Bill Gates is, he still uses the United States government to fund his projects. Can't knock him. It's good business. Even if you have the money, if the federal government's going to hand you $4 billion, I certainly wouldn't tell him no. But Levesque noted that the initial costs include those associated with designing and licensing the reactor, meaning future reactors would be a little bit less expensive. But I wonder how many new jobs are going to be created because of this plant. Hopefully thousands, technically. Most advanced nuclear reactors being deployed in the United States, including TerraPower's, they rely on a high assay, low enriched uranium, which is enriched to a higher percentage of uranium-235 compared to conventional reactor fuel. Now, due to Russia being the only commercial supplier of this particular fuel, TerraPower has postponed its Wyoming project to launch to 2030 while it works with other companies to develop alternative supplies. Last thing we want to do is be 100% dependent on Russia if they're the only supplier. So definitely wouldn't be a smart move here. But anyway, so the U.S. Department of Energy, they're also working on developing this HALEU domestically. So Edwin Lemon, he's the director of this nuclear power safety with the Union of Concerned Scientists. He actually co-authored an article expressing the concerns about HALEU. So Lehman, he pointed out that although the current risk is small due to limited availability, this could actually change if advanced reactor projects requiring larger quantities of HALEU progresses. So he hopes to raise awareness and encourage the international community to enhance security around this type of fuel. But despite all of these concerns, the NRC spokesperson, Scott Burnell, he assured that the agency's current requirements would maintain both security and public safety for the fuels. Now, Bill Gates, he founded Terra. He actually founded Terra Power back in 2008, years ago, trying to drive advanced nuclear energy forward, provide safe, abundant, carbon-free energy. I'm pretty sure the World Economic Forum is backing him in some way, making doors open that would ordinarily be closed. But yeah, I mean, this is like one of the projects that we've heard from the WEF being promoted. Terra Power's 345 megawatt reactor could possibly generate up to 500 megawatts of peak capacity. This will be enough to power up to 400,000 homes. So rather significant output here. Now, initially, these reactors will focus on just kind of like supplying electricity. But future reactors might be built near industrial plants in order to provide heat as well. So it looks like they've got some pretty big plans for this project here. John Kotek, he's from the Nuclear Energy Institute. He highlighted that the advanced reactor's heat could actually produce hydrogen and fertilizers and all sorts of other things that would be helpful to other industries. But what do you guys think about this? You think this nuclear power plant has some hidden agendas being promoted by Bill Gates, or is this really going to be good for America? You guys let me know what you think about that. But yeah, it is pretty powerful. 400,000 homes. That's yeah. So, but yeah, but between Donald Trump, what's going on? Jacob Bartlett, appreciate the $10 super chat this evening. Jacob Bartlett says, would Bill Gates allow one of these close to his home? If so, how many more safeguards would be put in place? That's a good question. And I wonder how many homes Bill Gates has. But that's a very good question. If Bill Gates not good, well, the thing is if Bill Gates wouldn't allow one of these nuclear plants to be anywhere near his home, you can be damn sure I'm not going to live anywhere near one of those. But that's just me. But yeah, guys. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, please hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. Wheelam03 says he doesn't have homes. He has compounds. Oh yeah, Bill Gates. He's got compounds. He's got mansions. He's got elaborate bunkers. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Gates's bunkers are any less elaborate than Mark Zuckerberg's bunker. Did you guys see Mark Zuckerberg's bunker in I think he built it in Hawaii. I don't know if it's anywhere near where the Lahaina wildfires in Maui took place, but Mark Zuckerberg's got like a massive amount of land over there, and he was building this incredible like self-sustaining underground bunker. And I'm pretty sure it's a luxurious bunker, probably nicer than any of our homes. I don't know if you guys had seen that one. Let's see. Mad scientist at work again, Becky. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think Bill Gates is probably a mad scientist at heart. Let's see. Christopher Mikan says, why build it in Wyoming though? What would happen if Yellowstone erupts? Ew, that's a good question. I wonder if he's got an answer for that, or would yeah? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I was gonna say, can you turn like lava into fuel? I'm pretty sure you probably could, but then of course it's like, okay, there's also the danger of an eruption taking place nearby. That could be pretty detrimental as well. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on today's stories. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out my previous videos, and I'll see you guys on the next.